Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the homestead. I think our last video was about clearing the way for our garden, which we finished up. That took over a month because it was just a part of, like any project on a homestead, you know, we work on it as we can. Sometimes it's one of us, sometimes it's all three of us working. Chris does the majority of that because I just don't have the muscle strength to use the clippers on all the big stuff, and I'm not really comfortable with the chainsaw yet. So he enjoys it. So he's been doing that. But I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update today on the garden area. We are working on the fencing. We don't even have beds built yet. As you can see, it's getting green and spring is definitely here. I'll show you some of the things that are blooming in a few minutes. Some things I'm not even sure what they are, but they're beautiful. But I wanted to show you a little bit about what we've done with the fencing. Our biggest concern here, and the only reason we're really fencing at all, is deer. They come through here. This has been their home for a long time. We've kind of intruded on it a bit. They have the whole other 20 acres, but you know, they're not going to stay where we want them to stay. So we will be fencing it just with some like netting this year, and hopefully next year we'll be able to add to that and do the wire. We did do one row wire, and I'll show you that in a minute, but I'm just gonna give you guys a quick tour, an update on the garden. I had some great footage from the snowmageddon that we had here, which put us behind for a couple of weeks, and some footage of the guys initially starting this process on the fencing the garden. But my phone became what my daughter would call a brick. And unfortunately, I lost those videos off my phone before I could get them loaded onto the computer. I should have put them on the computer. It's on me. I'm glad I got back what I did get back, because at one point it looked like I was not going to get anything back on my phone. It was totally a done deal. Like, whew. But I want to thank Aaron and Jean for fixing my phone. And even though I lost a few video clips, you know, you guys kind of know how things are done. So I'll show you around a little bit, and then we'll go see what else is growing and turning green around the homestead. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom you out here. This is our gate. It's 6 foot wide. As homesteaders, we use a lot of what is on our property. So a lot of our posts are cedar. That's just a bracing post. All our corners, like that one, and down in there, you should be able to see it, are cedar. But the rest of this back fence, this fence, and the fencing across the front will all be deer netting. And we're hoping that that's enough to just deter them from getting in the garden this year. As you can see, the garden is still a work in progress. But on this fence, you'll notice on this side, y'all pardon me, we had a big rain this morning, and trying to stay out of the puddles. And after my last little foot mishap, I'm trying to really walk as best I can without twisting my ankle again. Okay, so as y'all can see, this is wire. The reason this one is wire is because all along this line, we are going to be putting our chicken coop and duck coop runs with those. So this one had to be wire to keep critters out of my chickens and ducks when they get here. The other thing about my pretty little baby girl chickens that I hadn't shared with anybody yet, that is Foxy. Princess is in the coop laying an egg at the moment, and my other two babies are gone. One of the things about this lifestyle is that you deal with loss. And unfortunately, of my 4 chickens, 2 were lost on the same day. We are not sure what did it. Not sure exactly what time of day, but I came home from town and just saw the 2 girls, which is not unusual because there's 4 of them. They kind of split in half. Sometimes they'll go 2 and 2 to different areas. So I saw the two. They were actually trying to get in my iris bed, and I was fussing at them, shooing them off, and even asked them, hey, you know, where are the other girls? Didn't think anything of it. Chris came home from work. We came outside to do some things. Then I came out to put them to bed, or to put them in their run, because I bring them in, I put them in the run with some snack, and then I come out in a little while later and put them in their coop when they're ready to go to bed. But there were only 2 chickens. Now my chickens are trained. They actually trained themselves. Like, they're just really good. And they the 2 girls showed up, but the other 2 did not. So I shook my little treat bucket, nothing. So I started hollering, nothing. Chris came out the door because he knew that if I was hollering for chickens, there was something wrong. Like there was something going on. So we started looking. Long story short, we did find some feathers from one chicken, never found feathers from the other chicken. We were kind of hoping she'd come back. Maybe she was just scared, because she was my most skittish chicken. But she was the only one that would really let me pet her and hold her and love on her. But anybody else, or anything else, she had already been attacked once by a dog. So our guess is that whatever got one got both. Not a hawk, because we found feathers on the ground in the trees in the woods. So the first round of feathers were out in the open. So our first thought maybe was hawk. But when we found the feathers inside the woods, not a hawk. More than likely coyotes. We do get them here. We have several packs that live around us, and they do come through our property during the day. So we've seen 1 or 2 at different times. Chances are that's what got my 2 girls. Unfortunately, one of the girls that was taken is my little girl who lays pink eggs. And I had just posted something on Instagram about all the pretty eggs, and everybody commented about her pretty pink eggs, and now I'm not getting pretty pink eggs anymore. But these 2 girls have been rocking it. They're doing 2 eggs a day. We're fine. My sister's on her way today and is going to bring me 2 more chickens. I got these chickens from her, so what she's bringing me are the same age. They all came out the same batch. So we'll be adding chickens to our flock tonight when she gets here, and hopefully everything will go well. And I don't even know if these 2 chickens missed the other 2 chickens at all. They don't seem depressed or sad or anything. So, you know, they don't know the difference. I'm the one that misses the chickens. I talk to them. They're my pals. And the one that lays the pink eggs was my favorite because, like I said, her name was Pretty Lady. And she would come out every morning and she'd stand on the ladder coming out of the coop and let me pet her and talk to her before she'd get down. The other ones just all run out. She would sit, wait for me. So she's going to be missed. Okay, now back to the fun stuff like the garden. This is our gate. And you come in. This is the garden area. It all kind of slopes downhill, which I think you can get a little bit of a idea of it. I mean, I'm standing at the top. You kind of see that. I don't know if you can on camera. It is 75 feet wide and 87 feet long. So this side right here is 87 feet. We will do mostly raised beds in here, but we will be doing some in-ground gardening. In fact, Foxy down there is picking in the area where Chris has already started to till. Her and Princess really enjoy picking through this garden, but it won't be long. They won't be allowed in here. So we are also, Chris is trying to burn a stump out. That's what this setup right here is. Trying to burn out a stump. We'll see if it works. You'll see other stumps in here. They will be dealt with eventually. Right now, the goal is to just get the fence up and start laying the garden beds in. Now, our garden beds will be raised beds. We're going to start over here, run them this way. That's for gravity water feeding, gravity fed watering. And we are making them out of 10 and some 2x4s, 2x6s. I don't know. Chris bought the materials. We are going to start with straw bales. So I will video that for you guys. But if you look right up there, you'll see my straw bales. That's just some of them. I have some more elsewhere. But we're going to start with straw bales, get those started, and then add dirt to the rest of the garden beds and get everything finished up. So that will be chicken run, duck run with a little small section in between to keep everybody divided. That will have like where we house our feed. If I need to separate somebody who's sick, or when I bring in baby chicks or ducks, a brooding area, that will all be over there. Some of the things we've done for fencing is we've put up chicken wire at the bottom. And one of the things I'm working on today, I don't really want to look that close to me, do you? One of the things I'm working on today is finishing up clipping this chicken wire to some guide wires that Chris put in. So he put in 2 guide wires along the bottom. We're also tucking the chicken wire down into a trench so it's partially buried, so hopefully nothing can burrow underneath it too much. And I've got to finish this last section of clipping. We're just using rabbit clips like you use to make rabbit cages, and a pair of pliers. And I've got to finish this up today. It rained this morning, but hopefully it won't rain on me anymore. And I can finish this up. And then we will be ready to fill in the trenches and put up the netting. And then the gates, which are going to be made out of woven wire. And then garden beds. That would be nice to have that all done this weekend. Not reality. Projects always take longer than you think they are. It's one thing I have learned in life. No matter what the project. Quilting a blanket, crocheting something, sewing an outfit, making a meal sometimes, putting up a fence, working on a project of any type always seems to take a little longer than we think it will. And I think part of that is that we're just hopeful that it will be faster than we really, in the back of our minds, know it will be. So I'm going to finish clipping, and then when I'm done with that, I'm going to take you guys around to see some of the other things that are growing. It's starting to sprinkle just a little bit. So I'm going to try to finish getting clipped up real quick, and then I'll be back. So we put the clip in like that. Then I come over here to the wire. Let's go down here and clamp it on. And I'm putting one on the top and one down at the bottom. The ones on the bottom, sometimes I have to pull the wire down in to the ditch so that they are straight. Just to stretch the chicken wire a little bit. Keep it straight. So, and that's how we did it. All the way down. So that's what they look like. They look like a little J. Put them in. Just like that. And then this top piece here curls it all the way around under that. See? I don't know if you can see that. But like I said before, they're just rabbit clips. Come in a little bag. This is the little tool. And now we've clipped them all the way around. And I've got one section left to do. And then we'll be done. The sun came out, y'all. And after a good rain, I love if the sun comes out and makes everything just look so bright and green and shiny in a beautiful spring day. So earlier I said I would show you guys some of the things that are starting to bloom and grow on our homestead. A lot of it is wild trees, or native trees that we have here. I haven't been able to identify all the trees. I'm hoping to work with a couple different organizations to get them figured out. Some we've figured out on our own. I think you've probably seen the video with the winged elm that I talked about. But we also have sand plums, native sand plums on our property. We have quite a few. They grow in like a thicket, So what we have are not very big. Last year they bloomed, and then we got a frost in April, a freeze actually in April, and it pretty much wiped them all out. We had one little bitty plum that held on for a little while, but then that was it. So today I'm going to show you a little bit, another thicket. The thicket that we showed you last time with that one little sand plum is behind me, but this one is a little bit easier to access. It's actually right alongside the garden, and so I want to show you guys what they look like and how unique they are. Okay, so here's the garden, and right along this fence line are some beautiful sand plums. I don't know how much of that y'all can see. They're just budding out. Let me see if I can get a really good picture. And they do grow quite thick here. So these are all sand plums. You can see most of these are blooming, and they go all the way past the end of the garden, but you see all the green back there, all the little bright spring green? That's all sand plums. So there's the back corner of the garden, and they go all along this side, all the way up. So that's one of the things that is blooming here on the homestead. We also have this beautiful tree here, which I originally thought was maybe a sand plum, but I have since looked at it a little better, and I think not. It actually has more pink in its bloom, and it doesn't have the same kind of leaves. So I am thinking maybe it's a wild plum of some sort, but not 100% sure. It is older or bigger than some of the sand plums that we have, but it does have really pink blooms. And if you look at it from a distance, I'll back up a little bit, you guys can see it. It actually has a big pink, quite a pink hue to it. See, those look more pink than they do white. But again, I'm not a tree person. I don't know. This has a very distinct smell that the sand plum does not. So I'm not sure. I don't think this is a sand plum, but again, I'm not 100% sure. And it is right at the back end of our garden. There's the gate. So if I step back and you look at it, you can see that it has a bit of a pink hue to it. I don't know if you can see it, the sun shining behind it like it is. So let's see what else we have growing on the homestead today. So there are some more sand plums right there. There's quite a few of them back there. That's the one where we actually had one little plum last year that didn't survive the freeze, but it tried. It held on really tight and tried. But there's even some smaller ones up here that have already lost their blooms, and they've already got just leaves on them. But that's another thicket. And then we have at least one more down the path past where the composting buckets go. There's one more thicket down there. We actually planted a sand plum down there. So as you guys know, if you've been following on our Instagram, and I don't know if I've put this in the video yet, we bought some elderberry cuttings. So these are our elderberries. They have spent most of their time inside until a few days ago when I've been hardening them off. You have to harden them off, but they've been hardened off. Now they're outside. They are getting bigger. We kind of jokingly call this a Bohemian palm tree. But there's our little elderberries. I have 10 of them. Not quite sure where we're putting all of them. They can all stay in pots. till the fall. So I mean, they're good where they are. We will move them into the garden once it's all enclosed, and my chickens can't get into them because my chickens love dirt. They think that it's a place to play, and they love to play in the dirt, and the chickens will actually dig all that dirt out and kill my plants. So you see what they're sitting on. That's a stock tank. We don't have stock, but I bought it off Marketplace because they accidentally poked a hole in it. And when they poked the hole in it, she sold it to me really cheap. It's 8 foot across. We're actually going to cut it in half, make a planters out of it in the garden. Too big to plant 8 foot across, but if you cut it in half and we put a trellis from one side to the other with an arch over it, the walkway, then I can plant in all of it and be able to reach all of it. So that's the goal, to plant in it and have it as decoration in the garden. So that's about it. I have some houseplants I've planted, nothing fancy there, but I just wanted you guys to see, like, the sun came out, I love it. Kind of what was going on, give you an update on the garden. Enjoy the rain and the sunshine, because you gotta have both when you're growing plants. Gotta have both. So I just want to say thanks, guys, for visiting us today, and we will talk to y'all later. Love you. Bye.